Hey guys, Wavejump here, and welcome back to another video, and today we are back in our command block world for a bit of a different video, and today we are going to be learning how to set up a command block world. So, as you can tell here, this is our 17th episode. Crazy. I should also set up a count of how many commands we've covered, but I'll do that eventually. The other thing is I am working on a work in progress right now, which is a command block wiki. If I remember, I'll put up some footage on the screen right now. But if not, I will have a link to it down below in the description. I'm kind of figuring out how I want to lay it out, but eventually this may become a thing that you guys can always look at if you ever want to go ahead and learn about a command without watching a video. Alright, so yeah, that was the basic introduction to this video. So I'm gonna show you how to create a world just like my previous world there. That's perfect for command blocking. Alright, so the first thing is, if you create a normal world, let's just call this command or video example 1, okay? If I create this world here, sorry by the way, there's going to be a bit of lag in this part of the video, but it shouldn't be that bad. You will see something that is very, very problematic, and we'll see that as soon as. So first off, we do have a lot of terrain around here, which is okay, but it's not super ideal for a command block world if we're just playing around with command blocks, unless we're playing around with specifically contraptions that deal with nature. The other thing you'll notice is that I can't go into creative mode. So in order to do this, if you are ever going ahead and playing Minecraft, and you just really seem to like this world, one thing you could do is you could get the seed, so do /seed, you could write this number down, and then go ahead and use that to create another world. I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. But what you could also do is you could go options, escape, open to LAN, allow cheats on, and start the LAN world. And now you notice I could go into creative mode, I could give myself a command block, but as soon as I reopen the world, I'm going to again have the same issue of I can't switch game modes, right? So other than copying the seed, another thing you could do is you could click recreate. So say I really like the seed, I didn't want to bother with copying it, you can click on the world and click recreate. So now I have copy of video example 1, right? First off, let's make sure we spawn in creative mode. Let's make sure that we allow cheats on, right? World type we're going to keep as default because we want the same type of world. And now when I create the world, and again, we'll have a quick lag spike here, we're going to have basically the same world, but we're going to have cheats and creative mode by default without having to open to LAN every single time. So yeah, now you notice I'm in creative mode. I could give myself a command block. I could run commands like so. And yeah, it's very, very simple. But say you're like, okay, you know, what's the point of creating a world like that when you could create a world perfect for doing command block contraptions? Alright, so we're going to go ahead here and we're going to create a command or video example 2. Again, we're going to start in creative mode because creative mode is needed for command blocks. And you'll notice here this world type thing. And this world type is very, very important to know because it's how you do many different things. So of course you could type in a seed, as we saw there, but we don't want to create a world with a seed right now. We want to create a world perfect for command blocking. So you have a couple of options. The first option is to go to Superflat, Customize, Presets, select Redstone Ready, Use, Done, and create the world. And this will create you a world made of sandstone. It's good for command blocking, but sometimes you just really don't want a ton of blocks everywhere, and you want to have a very nice looking world. So that's how, if we go to video example 3 here, and set again to creative mode, make sure allow cheats is on, and we're going to change from Superflat over to the void. See, so the void is a very, very nice, a nice preset because you spawn on a platform in the void. So as you can tell here, we have this little platform. It's stone, and the first thing we're going to want to do for this world is we're going to, of course, want to... And by the way, I'll go over how to do this on a server somewhat later. I'll eventually probably create a video on how to set up a server, but that'll be eventually. So I'm going to do fill, select the... and also I'm going to break this block in the middle and just put another block there so I know that's the center. Oops. We're going to fill those blocks, right? And we're going to fill it with quartz, underscore block. And bam, all of a sudden you'll notice we have a nice platform to work with for command blocking. Of course, we could change this to any size we want now. and it just kind of creates this very perfect environment for doing command blocking that you just kind of can't help but want to use. And I'm not sure why it feels like I'm having frame drops here, because it looks like I'm not actually having frame drops. But anyways, another thing you're going to probably want to do, well, let's just take a look here. Eventually, in your world, you'll probably experience some rain. The great thing about having a void world is every single biome is the void, so you don't have to deal with rain. But say you didn't do a void world, and you need to go ahead and prevent rain. So we're going to give ourselves a command block here, and we're going to put this right in the center. And the other thing is, you're either way going to want to have no rain because rain darkens the sky. We're going to create a new command block. We're going to say weather clear. We're going to put this on repeat, always active. And, oh yeah, here's the other thing you're going to want to do. So obviously here you'll notice that it's spamming my tablets, changing to clear weather. So you're going to want to go game rule, command block output, and if you just do /game rule and then press tab, command block output I believe is the first one, and then space, and then false, then you'll notice game rule command block output has been updated to false. And by the way, this should be the same for 1.11, and now you'll notice we have no more weather, so I could do /toggle downfall like I did earlier, and it just won't rain no matter what happens. I could do weather, rather thunder, nothing's going to happen, because it's back to the clear weather. And you'll notice every second it's changing to clear weather, which is just a really helpful thing to have there. It doesn't cause much lag, and it's just in general helpful. The game rules I like to put in a command block world are, first off, command block output false. I do rather like to turn off mob spawning, because you don't want mob spawning unless you spawn them in. Spawn radius, I usually set to 0 because it starts at 10. So spawn radius essentially means when you spawn into the world, will you spawn in the direct center of the world, or will you spawn around it? So you'll notice there I spawned directly in the center. We're also going to want to go, I personally keep inventory, because it's really annoying, especially if you're in a void world, to fall off and lose all your items. However, it is quite often that I have to clear my inventory here. We're also going to go game rule, send command p block you might want on. I usually turn it off. You could turn off death messages, you could turn off a lot of stuff. You don't necessarily need to turn off everything here though. Alright, so once you've done all this, you may be wondering, well, what happens if I have my own server and I want to do this? Well, basically, when you're in your server, once you have your world, and you have to do this by going through some config files, it's kind of self-explanatory once you understand it. Basically just do the same thing, and actually I'm going to head over to my mining world here to show you, since that resets every once in a while. You're going to go ahead here. First off, you need to make sure you have what's called op permission. So op permission essentially is the equivalent of allow cheats there, and essentially means if you own the server, you need to be able to be in creative mode, right? And you need to be able to run commands. So the way to give yourself op is in the server console, which you can see either if you're hosting it online or it's what you run when you're hosting the server locally. You're going to type in the console /op space your username. Oftentimes this is case sensitive, so for me I would have to do Wavejump games with capital W and a capital G, and you'll notice it'll go ahead and say opt that player's name, and now when you join the game, you will have that. Another thing you may want to do is do what's called a whitelist. So if I go ahead here and do whitelist list, you'll notice here I have a list of a bunch of players. But what the whitelist does is it allows me to allow or disallow certain people to be on. So currently, the way this whitelist works is only anybody who is on this list right here is allowed to be on the server. So what you could do is actually whitelist on to turn it on, and in order to add another player, so say I wanted to add Wavejump Games YTT, which is not a real account, there we go. It can't add it because it's not a real player, but you could do that. You could do whitelist reload if you've edited the file manually. Again, server stuff is a bit more complicated, but I'm probably going to create a video eventually on how to do it. It's just a it's kind of complicated to do, but I could probably show you guys how to do it. And this will work either in vanilla or in Spigot. One thing I will say, if you are running a Bucket or Spigot server, do not install Essentials if you are planning to do command blocking, because the Essentials plugin happens to ruin a lot of command blocking modules. Alright, so yeah, as you saw there, you know, I need to, of course, do game rule, keep inventory to whatever I want it to be. So say I want to keep inventory to be true. I want to change, oh, here's one more thing. And we're going to actually go back in our other world for this, even though we don't need to go back there. We want to turn off mob griefing. So mob griefing is you'll notice here, if I go fill negatives, or -3, -1, -3, 3, -1, 3 stone, you'll notice here I have this little stone platform, right? But we run into an issue eventually where we have things like creepers. And guess what creepers do? When we're experimenting with them, they can blow things up. As you could tell there, that was a very small explosion, but nevertheless, it still did break blocks. And we don't want creepers breaking blocks because with a lot of creepers, this becomes a problem. So, again, I'm not really sure why this is only... Oh, you know, I think stone has a pretty high explosion resistance. 1 minute, let me go ahead here, and we'll change this to grass, because I'm pretty sure grass has a slightly different resistance to it. There we go. So now notice here when we blow up the creeper, hopefully, there we go. It blows up a large hole. And, while this could be really nice sometimes, we don't always want our world being destroyed because, well, obviously it's destroying our world. You know, they could cause some serious issues, especially if you ever were working with redstone. So, here's what we could do in order to prevent that. Oops, let's get rid of that block. Alright, so there is a game rule right here, and this is kind of a bit of a tutorial about game rules. There's one called game rule mob griefing. So if you change the game rule mob griefing to false, then you'll notice here, creepers can no longer do damage to blocks. However, if you're ever planning to fight the Wither, you should also know that the Wither also can no longer do damage to blocks. So even if I were to have a sword here, you'll notice if the Wither were to start attacking this creeper, it doesn't do any damage to the blocks. It still can do damage to other players, entities, etc., but obviously the blocks are remaining intact. So yeah, let's go ahead and kill the Wither. There we go. Superflat is also going to be your friend. Allow cheats on. And of course, what I'm going to do is go ahead and let me know words down in the comment section if you would like me to create a template for this, because I think it could be really helpful for people to have a template for just to be able to use their own world. And also, if people would like, they could always go ahead and download my world, which is my command block world. I do have an instance of it on my website. Go to my website, wavejump.us, click on creations, downloads, etc. And you'll go ahead and find a download to my command block tutorial world. Go ahead and download that, and you will have a world just like this to work in. And you'll have a lot of my command blocks to look at as well. For example, you have the selector wall here, so that you can know exactly what each selector does. Pretty helpful. Alright guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, go ahead and leave a like down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. I upload every single Wednesday. And yeah guys, hope you have enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Bye! So another thing is, if you're ever working in a world and you don't want blocks to be able to be dropped at all, another helpful game rule is do tile drops. So what tile drops means is it means whether or not the block will drop. So game rule, not I can't type right now. Game rule, do tile drops. You notice I could set to false, and oh no, our stone's gone forever. But of course, if you set that back to true, it's going to do that. I don't think I've ever done an episode on game rules, so I will eventually make one. Really quick here, there's, spawn radius I went over, show death messages. If you're playing around with things and things are constantly dying, like for example, say, for me, fell out of the void, just turn that, you could just turn that off and it doesn't spam your chat anymore. Do entity drops. This basically means if you kill a mob, it won't drop any items if you set it to false. Fire tick, this is a really helpful one. Makes it so that not everything burns, because you'll notice here, if we go back out to our platform over there, oops, that's not creative mode. So we're going to recreate this platform, but out of planks, right? Here we go, planks. So you'll notice here we have this nice wood platform, but obviously, oh no, we have some fire. And then, all of a sudden, and this is obviously much more sped up than it would actually be, our entire platform begins to burn down. Another game rule, as we're waiting for this to go, is game rule random tick speed. This can allow you to manipulate how fast everything runs. So currently it's at 3, fix that to 90, you'll notice everything starts happening in general faster. You'll notice the fire's spreading a lot faster, and it's burning things faster. If I set it to 900, my game's probably going to start crashing, but you'll notice it is definitely working. So let's change it back to 3 though before our entire game breaks. So what you could do here is you could go ahead here, and if I fill this with planks again, by do game rule do fire tick false, now you'll notice I could have this basically not not burn everything. So if I set the random tick speed to 900 again, you'll notice literally nothing happens. Actually, yeah, I'm not sure why I just set the random tick speed to 0, but you get the point. And as soon as, of course, I turn fire tick to true, you will start eventually seeing some burning going on, and it's not great for this, obviously. So yeah, there's really not a ton of super important ones. Another important game rule is natural regeneration. This means if you want to create a UHC map, you could do that. But I'm going to save that for another episode on game rules, because I've covered way too many game rules this episode, given that it was just a tutorial on how to create a world.